Good afternoon, all. Welcome to our second session of today's ATAL FDP. I'm glad to see you all ready to dive deeper into our topics and the discussions. I hope you had a chance to reflect on his last sessions and are ready for another engaging session today. Now, today, the second session, we have our guest, Dr. Pranav Sapkal, who is the founder and director of LUCID Implants, Nagpur, Maharashtra, India. He has completed his Bachelor of Engineering from COAP Technological University. He has completed his Master of Engineering from Vishweshwaraya National Institute of Technology, Nagpur. He has also completed his Doctor of Philosophy from Vishweshwaraya National Institute of Technology, Nagpur. He has 11 years of experience, and as said, he is a co-founder of Lucid Implants, and he is also a graduate engineering trainee from Mahindra and Mahindra. We all welcome Dr. Pranav Sapkal, sir. The session is all yours, and huge round of applause for our second session, Dr. Pranav Sapkal, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello. Am I audible? Okay. Yeah. So, thank you for the introduction. So, what Kute sir told you is about all the basics, how 3D printing is getting inside the medical industry and how people have started it. Like he started it in the year of 2005 when he bought the printer from Stratasys. I think that time the printer cost was around 13.6 lakhs. And Stratasys printer is from the company called as 3D Systems actually. And at that time he was printing ABS. ABS is acrylic butadiene styrene, and with that he was making some of the models in those days. Now everything has been enhanced, and now in all the fields 3D printing is being used. We'll just start the session in what all different areas the 3D printing is getting, what my company is doing, what I did in my PhD, and then how I picked up a product from the PhD and now I'm selling it. So actually, and this was a spin out of Bitic, which sir got the project from the year 2014, and the main agenda of the project was to not the students, like whatever the funds the government was giving, they wanted the students should also publish papers, but the spin out should be in the form of a product which is deployable in the market. So in the year 2018 I finished my PhD under Professor Kuthe, and he was working on the bone tissue regeneration scaffolds that he showed in his presentation. That the building that I was working on, and then after 2018 we raised the funding from the investors, and then we started the company. So how that was journey, how the journey was, and in the ending I'll tell you ki when you are raising the funding or as an institute for all the professors, how you can guide your students to make the business plan. If not, you are directly connected, but still if someone asks you as a advisor or your own kids, like they want to start up, go for the business, you need to have two different perspectives. One is the technical perspective. So as an engineer, you will say that okay, I'm good in technical, and but now how to make a business out of it is also one of the question. Now being a mechanical engineer, you are also mechanical engineer, we can connect together how the things are moving. So I'll give you some of the examples, but what the company does and how we are doing it, how you can do it is what you need to note. You can take down the notes also, but you sincerely hear me because I'll be only speaking for 25 to 30 minutes itself. Okay, I've squeezed down the presentation. First of all, greetings from Nagpur. Nagpur is the tiger capital of India. It's the geographical center of India, and it's what do you call as famous for oranges also. However, all are exported. We don't get to eat anything, and so what my company does is that today we'll be working on what about the 3D virtual surgical planning and patient specific implants which revolutionize complex oral and TMJ reconstruction. Now TMJ reconstruction is nothing but a ball joint. Sir has done that case of that girl with the mouth opening and she had a samosa after 10 years of her life. And water is there kya? So what are the modification in the joints and how the designs are being changed, how the manufacturing processes are getting changed. The same thing was made by casting before 10 years down the line. Now they are 3D printed. Okay. So what Lucid does is that we are into neurosurgery, facial plastic surgery, and maxillofacial surgery. All the dentistry that you call as. We have business in 29 states in India. We export to the some of the this Nepal, Israel, and the Middle East. Driving medical tourism in India. What I mean by that is there are in India some of the people they come from like Afghanistan or from Sri Lanka to get their surgery done in India. That is called as medical tourism. So they stay in India, they get their surgery done, and then they go. Profitable and R&D led startup. As I told you, it's R&D because I converted the PhD project into the business actually. How does the process work in this case for the 3D printing is that we get the CT scan of the patient, we convert the CT scan of the patient into a model, then that is 3D printed. Now you can see in the fourth slide, the doctor is talking with the patient and explaining the patient, okay, this is the problem that you have and this is the surgery that we are planning. As I told, in case of the x-rays or these things or the reports, patient doesn't understand what is happening, but you show him a 3D model, this is what is the problem and this is what is the surgical plan, then the patient gets to have the confidence on the doctor. That is called as implant design confirmation. Then we manufacture it into a 3D printer. These are metal 3D printers, and then we do the quality check and things like that, and then we pack it and then we courier it to the surgeon. The surgeon puts the OT table, he arranges the nurses, the anesthesia team comes, and then the surgery happens. How does that happen? This is how the metal printing happens. This is Ti6 aluminum 4 vanadium, and what happens is that no one can go out. Come inside also. What happened? So, Ti6 aluminum for vanadium, one person was asking what is the powder and how we are using. Titanium is very soft, that is why you mix vanadium and aluminum in that. Titanium melts at 1600 degrees Celsius and that is why the laser is focused on that level. Layer by layer manufacturing happens and the cranial plate fabrication is done. Titanium is also very explosive. That is why RDX is made with the help of titanium and RDX is used in bombs and that is why it has to be printed in argon atmosphere. Argon is inert atmosphere. It should not have oxygen in that. Otherwise, there will be a blast which will happen. Now, what happens after this thing is done? That was open. Yeah. After that, this is done. We remove the support materials and we grind it on a wheel, and then the polishing or the buffing is done. And that is how the cranial plate is fabricated. These cranial plates are the plates that are used inside the brain. You must have heard that someone must be having a tumor inside the brain. आपने सुना होगा कभी ट्यूमर है तो ट्यूमर when they take it out then they remove the skull bone but they keep the skull bone inside the belly because we don't have deep freezers in India. In some hospitals you have, but what happens when you keep it inside the belly also it gets infected. Then at that case you have to use a titanium implant which is compatible with the body. Buffing happens and all the finishing work happens. This is like from the industrial perspective you need to see how the product is made. Some of the tools are used to do the buffing and milling and everything is that, and then the final surgery happens. So that is the pre-op photo, means when the tumor is released, and after that when you place the cranial plate in that. How to fix the cranial plate? With the help of screws. Which screws? So you can find out all the mechanical engineering is happening inside this. Okay. So maximum time oral and maxillofacial surgery or this is connected to our engineering. Being a mechanical engineering also, I am telling you that. So you don't ever think that this is not my scope or this is not my area. This is your area only actually. So you can say that a wheelchair is made by engineer, suggested by a doctor, used by a patient. The doctor never makes a wheelchair in his factory. Okay. It's the engineer who makes it. There are different virtual surgical planning for the patients with the congenital defects. Congenital means they don't look properly. Their face is very tilted like that. So you show them the patient how he will look if suppose he moves the bone in this fashion. So you can say that we call it as Leaford 1 osteotomy and chin augmentation. When we move all these bones to this area, this is how the patient will look. And face is the confidence of the people. That is very important. They don't get married and the things like that. That is where they can invest a huge amount on this thing. Also for the dental implant placement, people who are dental implant in mechanical industry, you know jigs and fixtures. What is jig and fixture? Jig and fixture is something which guides the tool. This is nothing but a jig and fixture to guide the dental implant. Now the dental implant goes from this side and goes to the zygomatic bone to this side, and all that the complete denture is there. Okay. In older people, all the teeth and all are comes out. So in those cases they use that. Again, you need to have a jig and fixture. Again, 3D printing comes. For cancer radiotherapy, if suppose you might have heard about chemotherapy and radiotherapy. Radiotherapy should also be very concentrated. In that case also, what they do is that they have made the guides in order to inject the radiations to a specific area. Hyderabad is a very big center. Apollo is the hospital where this happens. Okay. For the orthopedic surgery also, whenever you have the knee cutting guide or the hip bone resection, 3D printing is useful. These all our things that I am showing is possible with normal 3D printers. You need to connect with the local doctors, take a project, and this is possible. This is not an implant. With a normal ABS model also you can make this. But you can start with that. Not only that, in veterinary also people are using 3D printer. This is one Hyderabadi breed. Can you tell me the name of the dog? Labra. Can anyone tell the name of the breed of the dog? So its name is Mudal Hound. Have you heard that? Mudal Hound एक Muslim breed है. Okay. So in that case also 3D printing is using. Just a heads up I am giving ki what are the different areas you can go. It's not like ki you have to work only on the bigger implants like that. You can start with in veterinary you can start. There is no, very complicated it's not very complicated also to work on dogs and like that because it's not human. So we can start in those areas. Because the name of the conference is connection of the 3D printing with the medical industry and you only gave it. तो आपको कहीं से you have to connect the things. Sir, now see for the congenital defect, as I told you, there are patients from last 10 years, the chin is very backward. Can you see that? The chin is very backward. The chin is very backward. So these are congenital defects. These are called as TMJ ankylosis. Now in a two-wheeler, you have a mirror on the right side, right? And you can rotate the mirror. Inside that, what is there? A ball joint is there. So that joint is that, like sir has made that joint, but new advancement, new materials have come and the joint is made in that fashion. Now how the joint is made, how the things are done and how the surgery happens, let's see in this case. So you have a skull like this. On the right hand side there is no joint. Now in order to chew the biryani you need both the joints, right? So we have the right side joint but there is no left side joint. What we do is that we put the guide, then we take the blade and then you cut the bone. You make the bone flat, okay? Then you have this joint. The upper one is the fossa component and the lower is the mandible component. On this is going to oscillate like this, okay? And then you fix the fossa onto the fossa component with the help of screws. You need to tell the doctor what kind of screws they have to use. 1.5 mm, 2 mm diameter screws has to be used. And similarly, on the mandible component fix and the patient is okay. How the fossa is made? Different materials are important. For titanium, load bearing is there, that is why titanium is required. But whenever you need to have a damping material, ultra high molecular weight polythene is required. How that is machined? In 5-axis dental CNC machine. How this is done? This is how it is milled. With the help of very fine cutters of 0.6 mm of the tool, and this is how the fossa is made. That is of medical grade, that is taken, and then the doctor is placing that fossa inside the zygomatic arch, okay? Vertical milling and like that, and this fossa is there, you need to tell the surgeon that this screws has to be used. So one joint of Zimmer Biomet is how much? 7.5 lakhs, one joint, which is imported to India. But we sell this joint as 55,000. Now you tell me, when the things are available locally, then the patient's bedding time, surgery time, anesthesia time, transportation time, and medical tourism all gets reduced heavily. If the joint is for 7.5 lakhs, the surgery cost would be 15 lakhs. So normal people cannot go for like that. So that is why the importance of the startup and the medical industry is important. I am trying to tell. Sometimes there are like, these are AIMS Raipur case. AIMS is All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and that also such kind of patients are there. And then we resect the bone on the mandible region and that region, and we release the joint. Then we rotate it. And after rotation, we tell the surgeons ki how they have to plan it. So the mechanical engineering and this goes side by side actually. You can understand that this is not my area, but slowly the surgeons will tell you ki how they rotate the mandible. And you only tell them. So after working for, like I am working for 7 years, so I understand how that is done. Exactly. And then you show that the cuts are there. Then how the screws has to be placed. Do you have sufficient bone also in order to place inside the screw, right? And then these are the surgical photos where you place the fossa, you cut the bone, and then you place the joint. So heavily, heavy deformation is there. Atrophic jaws are there. Atrophic jaws means very old patients, all the teeth are hanging. They cannot chew. If you shake one teeth, it will cut. What is the step for that? In order to rehabilitate, we give two guides. You fix the guide, you cut it with the blade. Upper and lower, completely cut it. After cutting, you take out the guides. Okay. Then you place two implants by taking the fixation of the other bone which are available inside the patient. Here they don't have bone, but here they have, here they have. So any support can be taken, and then we give some attachments in the bottom of that. On that bottom attachments, you fix the denture. Denture is this thing. Okay. And then you fix the denture. So even for atrophic patients, they can have, means you can rehabilitate them with this thing, because if suppose the bone is not there, this completely goes inside. Okay, and the patient looks very bad. Some subtype of cases, people who are tobacco chewers and all. Okay, and where you have a very specific kind of a defect in a very specific region, again you provide them with a guide. See, guide is very important, otherwise in the surgery, they will move the tool in very haphazard direction. So again you give them a guide, you cut the bone, you remove the screws, and you place the implant like that. On that you put the cement, on the cement you put the teeth. Okay. वो हो जाएगा attendance का, you don't disturb, वो सब मत करो आप. हाँ. Okay. So no one fails nowadays, don't worry. And then you fix the screws. This is how the implant is. So now all these things, as engineer, you dictate it to the surgeon, then he operates. Complex surgeries are done like that only. Sometimes of cases, people don't have any teeth in the maxilla as well as in the mandible. In some cases also, you give a different kind of design or two split kind of a design, because when he does the surgery, he has to open the flap. So all the soft tissues you have to take out. Everything he has to make it. So lot of incision will be there, lot of blood flow will be there. So in that case, two-piece design has to be given. So small incision can be given here, this implant can be fixed, and small can be fixed on the right hand side, and again the denture can be given in those cases actually. So as engineer, you can give the surgeon key what is happening. Then the surgeon will sit with you, and the prostho guy, prosthodontist means one who makes the denture, he sits with you. So all three of us decide ki how the surgery planning has to be done. You can say that ki the implant will be fixed, but the prosthodontist will say ki okay, I cannot fix the teeth. अब patient दांत लगाने के लिए आया ना, implant लगाने के लिए तो आया नहीं है. तो you have to take him in the confidence and put your abutments in that location. The maxillofacial surgeon will decide ki here the bone is not good, the implant might fail, change the screw from here to here. All normal things, okay? And again, for the unilateral kind of cases like the fossa cases, I'm saying for such kind of patients, very intricate kind of patients where the jaw is fused on the fused matlab weld ho jata hai. This is not, there is no opening in the mouth. Again, you give that, you release it, and then you place the joint, and these are having very drastically good results as the output for those patients because this curvature of the mandible and this has to be mirrored. Okay, this curvature and this has to be mirrored. अगर आपका ये ऐसा हो गया ना तो you will understand कि what problem you face. Okay, and these are the surgical pictures of the patient, how the fossa is fixed and things like that. How the denture has to be fitted is also mechanically oriented. All the screws has one thing which is called as tapping. Have you know what is tapping? Tapping is threading, right? Now you can see that this is ostium abutment. Ostium is a South Korean company. You can see this ostium ka threading inside this. This is M2 threading. M2 means what? M2 is 2 mm diameter. Now you have different taps available, 1.6, 1.8, M2, 2.2, 2.4. So you have to ask the surgeon ki which system you are going to use, get the tapping of that, and you do the tapping, then you fit the ostium multi-unit abutment, and then you tell the prosthodontist I have given you a standard system, now you can put your denture on that. Are you understanding what I am saying? Again, people who understand the what is countersunk, what is drilling, what is tapping can only make these designs. Okay, a CS fellow cannot make it, right? A CS fellow cannot make it. Patients for the plastic surgery area are very crazy about their facial reconstruction. You must have seen, if you see Hrithik Roshan like that, right? His mandible is straight like this and the chin is augmented. So all the patients wants to look like that. So they implant such kind of implant inside the whole body, frontal bone and this and that, peak implants. And these are the patients who are very psychotic patients, okay? Because they don't have any problem in their life. Their only problem is to look good. And if you want to look good, you can go to any extent. Now there are patients, these are the patients who can pay you heavy amount of money, okay? Because they don't have any valid reason. Okay, people with having cancer, they go for the surgery not because they want to, because they have to. Here they don't have to, they want to. Okay, so these are the patients where medical tourism is happening from Singapore to Kerala. They are coming for one angle implant and the doctor is charging them around 4 lakhs to 5 lakhs because it's very expensive in their countries. In developed country, medical this thing is very expensive actually. See, for the malar implant, girls, maximum girls chin implant, all the girls wants to look like, you know what they want to look, but they want to have a V chin, whereas the male chin is little flat from the front, right? So from the angle implant you can see, everyone's angle implant is projecting out. This has to project out, then he can look good. Maximum females will see the angle is round. Handsome boys angle is sharp like that. You see that, notice that. So people are different. Male wants to become female and female wants to become male. In that also they use implants. In this case you can see she is a transgender actually and she wanted to become a girl. So the chin augmentation, can you see the difference in the chin augmentation? Right? How the surgery happens? The incision is from this side because if suppose I cut it here, people will say that ki, I'll have scars over here and I don't want people to understand that okay, I went with a surgery in order to do. So this all is confidential, right? All the film stars and also they also do such kind of surgeries, but that is very confidential. So how they insert the malar implant for the chin augmentation? Can you see the chin on that side? That is suppressed, right? Here that is suppressed. But when you put the chin implant, that is symmetrical, like that. How the peak printing happens? Metal printing I have showed you, it happens at 1600 degrees Celsius, layer by layer. Some FDM printing is there, but in case of PEEK, which is polyether ketone, a bioinert material, the FDM printing happens at 486 degrees Celsius, and the bed temperature is how much? 180 degrees Celsius. So this is how this frontal cranial defect was the case, and this is how the layer by layer printing happens actually at 485 degrees Celsius. So everywhere, if you see, from the manufacturing point of view, people from the material science area and mechanical area are dominant in that. You cannot, in material science area, you need to understand at what temperature you need to anneal the peak, right? Because it has to be hard. Titanium also you do annealing. Can you tell me why annealing is done? To refine, harden, to relieve the stresses, right? If you don't relieve it, it will become brittle. And the moment the surgeon puts the screw inside the brain, it will crack. Are you getting? So this is from the technical perspective. Okay. This is from the technical perspective. I as a technical person will give the presentation in this form. If suppose I want to get the degree. But now I got the degree. Now I need to sell this. Now how to convert the same presentation to a business presentation, because the topic he gave me is economics and medical sciences, right? So the same presentation will say, but this will be in front of the investor. But how that is molded, I'll explain you. Okay. So these are the two facilities that we have. This is both are in Nagpur. That the right side one we are making is according to CDSCO. CDSCO is Standard Trunk Control Standard Organization. According to that, whenever you make these implants, you need to have the manufacturing license. Okay. So this is from the technical perspective. I'll explain you, or you can explain to your students how to give a business this thing. But when you give a business presentation, you have to also tell about the technicalities. So how to mix up both the things, I will tell you. That is very boring, but still you understand. Okay. So when you ask money to the investors to start the business, and the case that will take today is I need 5.5 crores. How much? At a valuation of 8 crores. And the investor is ready to give me 50 lakhs. Okay. So tell me how much percent of equity I will sell. Did you understand the question? What is the valuation of the company? Valuation is 8 crore. How much I am asking? 5.5. So how much percent of my company I am giving it to them? Simple hai. Yeah? 2.5 परसेंट कितना परसेंट इक्विटी में बेच रहा हूं अपना 50% तो 4 करोड़ होगा ना है यू कैन कैलकुलेट द परसेंट अच्छा ठीक है आई विल रिवर्स द क्वेश्चन आई वांट 40 lakhs from suppose this college is funding someone example this college ka student is saying I want 40 lakhs from you and I will give you 10%. What is the company value? 10% 40 लाख होता है तो 100% कितना हो गया 4 करोड़ हो गया बराबर है तो मैं 4 करोड़ के वैल्यूएशन पे 40 लाख उठा रहा हूं अपना 10% दे के इसमें कोई समझ प्रॉब्लम नहीं है तो I will try to sell this 10% at a higher value. Now I say the investor 10% ही दूंगा लेकिन 50 लाख दो वैल्यूएशन कितना हो गया 5 करोड़ 10% ही दूंगा 1 करोड़ दो वैल्यूएशन कितना हो गया 10 करोड़ हो गया राइट सो व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज दैट कि whenever you sell anything as a business it is all hypothetical. Hypothetical means I am making a painting. It's my responsibility or it's my ownership to sell the painting at 50,000 or 5 rupees because it's my painting, right? बराबर है तो the initial transaction that you do with the investor is very important because अगर उसने कम वैल्यूएशन पे पैसा ले लिया तो आपका 100% तो कुछ हुआ ही नहीं. ट्रांजैक्शन के बाद तो आप अपनी कंपनी में नौकर बन जाओगे, है कि नहीं. अगर उसको मैंने बोला कि वो बोले कि आप पूरा वैल्यूएशन 2 करोड़ रखो कंपनी, यानी 100% इज 2 करोड़ और मैं 50 लाख देता हूं तो 25% तो कंपनी बिक गई. अब 75% बाकी है, उसके बाद वो और 20-40 लाख देके 25 ले लेगा और आपको बोलेगा कल से तो वॉचमैन बन जा. Are you getting what I'm saying? So the first transaction that you do is very important as far as the business perspective is concerned. So deep tech जो business होते हैं उनके valuation 6 करोड़ से 8 करोड़ तक होता है. हमने जैसे जब लिया था वैल्यूएशन तो उस टाइम हमने 4 करोड़ पे लिया था और सेकेंड इन्वेस्टमेंट 8 करोड़ पे लिया था. तो दिस स्मॉल मैथमेटिक्स और इकोनॉमिक्स you have to understand if suppose you go in that direction, right? That so how that is done or how in front of business in 10 minutes I'll explain. So again you say in front of in front of the investors that we work on 4 defects A B C D: accident, birth defect, cancer, deformity, and the slide should explain कि क्या करते हैं, right? From the top you can explain कि what is the business about. This is my team. So Dr. Nitin handles the surgical part because investment एक आदमी को नहीं मिलता है, एक टीम को मिलता है. समझ गए? वो इन्वेस्टर हमेशा आपकी टीम देखता है क्योंकि अकेले थोड़ी आपको देगा वो पैसा, राइट? एंड यू हैव सम एडवाइजर, लीगल एडवाइजर, सेल्स एंड मार्केटिंग प्रशांत देखता है, आर एंड डी डायरेक्टर डॉक्टर देखते हैं. We have APN as a printing partner, Evonik as our material partner, Dassault System as our software partner, Intech as our metal 3D printing partner, and Ink ID as our patent partners. So now it looks like a team, right? इनके पेटेंट के लिए मटेरियल लोग यहाँ से लेते हैं, काम यहाँ से करते हैं, ऐसा एक कॉन्फिडेंस आ रहा है, राइट? Third slide will be like कि what amount of business we are doing, what different type of implants we are doing. Now comes to the in-depth part of that which is oriented towards the economics. People will ask, okay, titanium custom made implant, how many do? Application is facial reconstruction, customer is neurosurgeon, oral and maxillofacial, plastic and surgical. कितना परसेंट रेवेन्यू आता है? 65% रेवेन्यू मेरे को यहां से आता है. ओके, क्रेनियल प्लेट पीक इम्प्लांट का 19% का रेवेन्यू है, अल्ट्रा है मॉलिक्यूलर वेट का सिर्फ 2% का रेवेन्यू है. मैं कितने में बेचता हूँ? 20 से 25,000 में. और प्रोडक्ट रेंज क्या है पीक का? वो भी मैं 25 से 1,10,000 तक बेचता हूँ. एक पर्सपेक्टिव की व्हाट प्रोडक्ट्स आई हैव, मैं कितने में बेचता हूँ और मैं कितना पैसा कमाता हूँ. आर यू गेटिंग? मैंने पिछले साल लास्ट ईयर आई सोल्ड टू दीज टॉप 10 कस्टमर्स जिसमें द मल्ला वाज देयर, उसने 11% कंट्रीब्यूट किया था, 6.6%, एम्स रायपुर ने 5.1, डीवी मेडलाइफ हैदराबाद 4.1. विद दैट आई वाज एबल टू जनरेट अ रेवेन्यू लेट्स से सपोज 3 करोड़. ओके, then we are also working on some of the this thing bioresorbable material. Here you can put your R&D slide ki what future mein you are going to do. This is what I am doing, but I am in the future mein I am going to make not only titanium implants but the bioresorbable implants also. Uska market itna hai, like that, and things like that. For that you can explain the surgical cycle. I have opened these many labs in India. The Chief Minister of Maharashtra came to my office. Are you getting all the allocations? I have one more lab in Nepal. This is my team, like that. Now I need to explain to the people what is the business market. So orthopedic market is 24 billion. Bone graft market is 3 billion, out of which I am generating 3%. All the statistics you have to give. First year my revenue was this much, second year it jumped to this much, third year it was this much, and fourth year it is this much. Operational metrics में all the inquiries you have to give, and 40 lakh seed fund say when you start it from here, then you have to show it to the journey to them कि what I have did, then I raised the second investment round and what I am going to do. So MIDC land purchase and revenue, like that. In one cycle you have to show कि पिछले 5 साल में what you have done. Then profit and loss statement of all the 3-4 years, like that. And now when you give all the confidence to the investor, then you ask the money ki okay, I need 5.5 crores on the right side. Out of that what I do, 3 crores I want to purchase the machinery and this thing. R&D के लिए मुझे 25 लाख चाहिए, working capital 2 करोड़ चाहिए. रेगुलेटरी एफडी लाइसेंस के लिए 25 लाख चाहिए, तो टोटल मेरे को 5.5 CR चाहिए. Okay, so this slide, like I want to explain you कि you first explain what you have done, technical one slide, but all the financial slides after that you give them the confidence कि with the money that I have taken I have raised the revenue from here to here. Then you ask कि I need this much money and I'll do this much with that money. Are you getting? So इसके अंदर there were no technical details, how the fossa was made, how the peak was made, like that. Okay. Then you have to also tell ki what is the company, what are the directors, you know, how many investors we have as of now, how many people are on the stake, and what was the year by year profit and loss of the company, and what is projected till 2030. कहां से कहां आए, तो नेक्स्ट ईयर हम इतना करेंगे, फिर इतना करेंगे, फिर इतना करेंगे, इसीलिए मेरे को आज इतना दो. आर यू गेटिंग? Okay, so you need to show that big dream to the investor and you ask for the money. So these are some of the liabilities, like this is what your CA does actually. Okay. So this is from my side. I wanted to explain you that whenever you do any technical thing, it's very important for you to understand the finance of it also. If you don't understand the finance of it, so you don't have any direction for it. Okay, you will say that that's not my cup of tea, so then you cannot do it actually. So businessmen don't know anything very in depth, he knows everything small bit. Okay, so whenever you have any meeting or you are suggesting anyone, you need to ask them the finances. So you tell me, like, any student is here, so what is your CGPA? 9 point something. Abhi, I don't know ki what background is coming, but I asked the number, and with the number I am now judging him. Ki theek hai 9 hai, to अच्छा hai, things like that. He must be disciplined, like that. So the investors will also ask ki theek hai, business is good. What is the number? How much money did you make? What was the profit? From where did you make this money? And if I give you this money, what are you going to do? So if you satisfy them with all the ends, and when you tell that okay, I am the co-founder, I am the one who leads it from, because I know the technical thing, then they give you the money. So this is what happens in your Hyderabad. What they call medtech? Huh? T-hub. Government sector, I don't know, huge buildings that I have seen, their T-hub, there all the students, they pitch in front of the investors, so they do the same thing actually. Are you getting? And then they get the money, then they deploy people, then they increase revenue. When they increase revenue, they say that okay, I told you that I can do this. Then they say that now you give me more money. So one example was Byju's. Are you getting what I am saying? But Byju's now it is not working, it's going down, right? So that can also happen. So the only point I am trying to tell is, if you are a good technical person, if you cannot deploy, you will not be able to see that fifth dimension of it. That fifth dimension you will not able to understand. Are you understanding what I am? That is why I introduced this pitch deck also. This, because that is the outcome of that. So the first thing doctor asks us is that key, what are you making? The second thing that he asks is, what is the cost, right? And if the cost is proper, then he gives you the order. So I think you have to also introduce one small accounting subject with the engineers. You have to explain them, because if they don't know that, they'll always. That is why you see any Marwadi or Gujarati, they're technically not so sound, but their economics is very good. Okay, I was in Rajkot College, and there one Gujarati fellow came and talked with me, and he took out one part from his pocket and said कि ये बनाने वाला मशीन खरीदना है. He don't know कि उसको CNC बोलते हैं. ये बनाने वाला मशीन खरीदना है. And he immediately made the business plan कि मैं ऐसा करूँगा वैसा करूँगा. तो it's very important for you कि how to make invoice, what are the taxes, at what tax, what is TDS and things like that. If you have some clarity, then only the story will be completed. Otherwise, you'll be always like, I can make a good product, but I don't know how to sell it, I don't know whom to sell it, and I don't know whether it is useful or not. और बेच तो मैं सकता ही नहीं, और पैसे तो मैं ले ही नहीं सकता हूँ, मैं सिर्फ सैलरी लेता हूँ. Are you understanding? So that connection is not fulfilled. That is why the dominant is you need to have basic accounting knowledge, what is basic business plan. And I am not saying that you need to have very in-depth knowledge of that, but a very frivolous kind of knowledge by which by looking at the numbers you can just say that he is a good boy or he is a bad boy. Last year was the revenue, sir, 3 crore. This year, sir, 3.3. Only 3.3? 0.3 say increase hua. And how much did you infuse in the business? Sir, 5 CR. So what is the loss? This much is the loss. Now who is going to bear it? So next round I cannot give you the funding. ये basic है. Understood what I'm saying? Valuation क्या है? How the things are like that. That also you have to see. Okay. So now if you have any questions, you let me know. I finished in 40 minutes, right? If you have any questions, you can ask. Any?
Abhay Kumar, sir.
After?
Hello. Pranav, I think team plays a very important role in success of the business. So what I feel like whenever anybody start a company, to which we call it the startup, how to build a company, build a team. But otherwise, see what happened. Like what I feel, like if everything is taken care by the person who has started a company, and he is only taking lead everywhere. As you say that he should know about the accounting, he should know about the product manufacturing, and he should know about the sale of the product and all that. So I think he will be heavily loaded. And in that case, how do you link it with the success? I think team is important. How do you build a team?
See, team is. See, there are two kind of people. When you are making anything from the scratch, if you think that okay, people who are very intelligent, they might join you and they can take the team and the company forward, then that is not the only quality which is required. He might not be too intellectual, because if he's intellectual, he'll see the company as a package, right? He will evaluate you as a package and he will leave you once he understands that okay, there's no benefit with you, right? So you have to find out people who are of like-minded people. Understood? If suppose he is not able to take any risk, or he thinks that okay, I can join if you give me 10 lakhs ka package, but if suppose the company is going down, I'll leave you, then that is not the team. So that specific people, finding out the right people is a very important and challenging task actually. So
I think that's where we'll have to look at. Otherwise, the owner becomes heavily loaded, and then it becomes very difficult. That's what they generally talk in the all these happy index, no happiness index countries. They say that there has to be the work-life balance. Like you should work, but at the same time you should also enjoy the life. So in that scenario, can this selling of the it means it's my thinking. Is it that the selling of the equity to a person, and then maybe if the profit is good, then we will give you this much of profit and all that, and this much of percentage. Will that build a good team?
no, that never. That's what I'm saying. That doesn't makes a good team actually. See, taking a company from a revenue from 10 crores to 300 crores require a different mindset, people. But taking a company from 0 to 1 crore is a very different mindset.
That's what exactly the startup is, no?
Ah, that is what.
So now, suppose you are employed a person who has been given a regular salary per month of some X amount, and if you can say that with your performance, good performance, if the revenue means if the profit increases, then I can give you the some percentage of the profit along with that X amount. Will that help?
That is called as ESOP, actually, stock option program. But again, as I told you, actually, it depends on that individual. When you talk about individual who maintain work-life balance, let's say suppose this example, you're conducting this FDP on Sunday. I can challenge you, if this would be a government institute, you would have said, ki, I'll do it on Monday, right?
Government sector is different.
No, I'm saying ki because they have to put that extra effort if they want to this thing. They need to have those people with that mindset. अभी यहाँ सभी लोग बोलेंगे कि मेरे वाइफ के पास जाना है, ये जाना है, तो फिर ये नहीं कर पाएंगे ना. Everyone has to go there, so you have to. So whenever you make a team like that, you need very different crazy people. You cannot have people who are well balanced and like that, because that doesn't work in a startup, no.
I'm not talking about the work-life balance of the to whom you are employing. I'm talking about the work-life balance of the owner. Because owner should also get some time to. That's what I'm
he
talking
never
about.
gets that time. I don't know.
So because
And he's ready to actually see, that is his baby. That is why Professor Ravi always says that, kid, that is your baby. And when that is your baby, you understand that you have to run to the hospital, and you don't say, ki, boss, I cannot do that, because it's your baby. So when you make it, you feel it. Okay. The other employees might have their employee mindset. Out of which, if out of interest, if they are involving, those are the people who are really different, I'm saying. And now getting those people is tough. That is your luck or your this thing. People who, work from the start of the company and they take the company to somewhere are different people. You can call anytime, they'll come anytime, they'll take the responsibility. And when you take the responsibility, you are a pretty different personality.
yeah, and what